Reddeos presents r/AskReddit. If you enjoy the video, show your support by commenting, liking and subscribing to the channel. Gamers of Reddit, what gaming experience will you never forget and why? The Pico Mantis fight of Metal Gear Solid. Snake, plug your controller into the second controller port. Nowadays, such a thing would be considered trite or a cute gimmick at best, but for the time period when it came out, 1998, and the first time I played it, I was probably about 10 or 12 at the time, it was mind-blowing. For people who don't know what I'm talking about, in the first Metal Gear Solid on PlayStation, and later ported to GameCube, there's a boss you end up fighting called Pico Mantis. He claims to be a true psychic and proves it to you by saying things like "I'll make your controller move through sheer force of will" and then causing it to vibrate. He comments on other games you've played, reading your memory card, makes you think he's turned off the game by doing the default input screen, and even avoids all of your attacks until an ally calls and tells you to plug your controller into the second controller port. It was amazing. Riding into Mexico in Red Dead Redemption. The music comes in at its absolutely perfect. Learning the big secret of Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic about your main character for the first time. I didn't complete the game until way after it was released. I was really young when it came out and didn't even know what Star Wars was, but I never saw anything about it since it seemed like a forgotten game. I have to say, when the big reveal happened, I was shocked and excited. The first little sister encounter in BioShock. I married a man in Star Wars Galaxies and my town threw a huge wedding celebration for us. After the gifts and speeches we went back to his place and I stole everything he owned. In actuality I was a 13-year-old boy posing as a lady and my buddy was the wedding planner and convinced the town to make sure to bring gifts. He even got paid by the town. The entire thing was premeditated and we laughed for days and days non-stop. When I was around 4, I was playing Mario Kart on the SNES with my older brother who was around 7 years old. I was falling behind and he refused to wait for me to catch up. I got angry and bit him. I know it's weird, but it's just stuck in my memory. That was the first and last time I bit someone and it was over a video game. First time getting to Hyrule Field in Ocarina of Time. The kids today that grew up with 3D open-world games have no idea just how mind-blowing it was when it was new. The end of Portal 2, in particular the final portal you shoot. I'd waited until I finished my exams to play it, then basically stayed up all night to finish it. What an ending that was. Sadly of course it turned out to be the ending of the whole Half-Life /Portal universe D. Killing Perthernax. I still feel bad about it years later. Beating Halo 3 on Legendary with my brother's split screen on a small TV in our room. It took us weeks to get to the last level and then it took us hours to get past the part where you drive the Warthog to the ship where the ground keeps falling down. It was one of the best moments I've felt after beating a game. Killing my dog in Minecraft. I misclicked with a bone, trying to tame it, accidentally hit it and I had to end its life. All gilled up, Call of Duty 4. Last mission of Halo 3. Where the floor is collapsing and you're on the Warthog. I'll remember the feeling I had playing it for the first time with my friend in like 3rd grade forever. Such a epic mission. Modern Warfare 2 was my introduction into online games. I had to beg my grandparents to get Wi-Fi for the house so I could play with my friends. One school night it's like 3 in the morning and I'm playing Search and Destroy with my friends. We get put into a lobby with a whole clan and they start talking ungodly amounts of. Here I am in my undies, middle of the night and yelling all kinds of back at them. I just remember us winning and us rubbing it in the noses while we watch as they all leave the lobby one by one. Beating co-op Portal 2 with 2 of my best friends. We spent forever laughing, messing with each other, trying to figure out puzzles that made us feel stupid for how long it took. Finishing it felt like a chapter in our lives came to a close. Never going to forget those moments. When I grew up we always had that sort of computer which wasn't all bad, but installing a game was always kind of a jeopardy. It just might not work. So back in 2005, World of Warcraft had finally gotten traction and the news had begun reporting about the online sensation. People were discussing how big it actually were and the possibilities it offered. So at Christmas, I finally got it. I was overjoyed and couldn't wait to get home and plug it in. For those who doesn't remember, it had 5 or 6 discs, which meant 5 or 6 chances of something up for my PC. As far as I remember, it took about 8 hours to install with me constantly leaping in the check on it and change CDS. But then, just around dinner time, it finally finished and the old screen of the giant portal appeared. The next year or so would be completely dedicated to that game, but I'll never forget that certain kind of curiosity and wonder that WoW brought me on that first encounter. The library in Halo 1. The first, and only, time I beat another human in a game of _StarCraft 2 _1v1, because I realized, hey, I outplayed this guy. I didn't have teammates who could carry or feed and neither did he, I just played better than him overall, and that's why I won. It felt great to know that I beat someone because I played the game better than them on an individual level, without having to factor anybody else into the equation. I mean, who the scans, sees that I have a bunch of tanks sieged up on the high ground with other units supporting them, and then tries to push up the ramp anyway. And then, a few games after that, I placed in Bronze 3. Mass Effect 3 and Mordin's Sacrifice. Had to be me. Someone else might have gotten it wrong. May you always collect more seashells. Edit, thanks for the gold, anonymous fan of BioWare games. The first 20 minutes of The Last of Us. This game gets you instantly invested in a few characters within a ridiculously short time. And then subsequently breaks your heart harder than any game ever broke it before. Also the first hour of war. The boss fight with the stranger is quite possibly the greatest thing I've ever experienced in a video game to date. The first time seeing the graphics and playing Super Mario 64. Edit, why did Nintendo eventually fall behind in graphics when they were ahead for a bit? What's stopping them from making a PS4 killer? I'll be the first one here to say no Russian, nobody forgets that one. 2 scarabs. I repeat, 2 scarabs. Surprised no one has said this but Batman, Arkham Asylum, when the game seemingly starts over for no reason and you realize it's just a scarecrow vision. I was so confused then completely blown away. The quest in Fallout New Vegas where you have to find out who killed Boone's wife amongst the friendly townspeople. It was the perfect marriage of gameplay, well-written dialogue, killer pacing, top-notch characterization, gut-wrenching decision-making, all with a demon dark tone. This showed me the potential video games had in telling interactive stories with dire consequences, and this particular moment stood out amongst so many others in this incredible game. First time playing Skyrim. The first time seeing that opening scene was pretty exciting. Also, being murdered by townspeople because I killed a chick in a short while later. First 99 in RuneScape. All those yew trees taught me what grinding is. The scene in Red Dead 2 where everyone walks up to the brave youth's house, I literally had the good, the bad and the ugly song playing in my head when that scene showed up. Such an awesome moment. My first solo PvP kill in EVE. The shakes are real. Installing this thing called Steam so that I could play Half-Life 2 when it released at midnight. Played through the whole thing in a single 6 to 8 hour sitting. Loved every bit of the experience. Today, I just beat Bloodborne for the first time and honestly, the whole ride was amazing. Fallout 3, when you first exit the vault, was pretty awesome. I used to play Shadow of the Colossus with my little brother watching and commenting besides me, and this is such a nice memory for me, especially now that we've grown apart and we don't see each other that much anymore. First time killing Oryx in Destiny. King's Fall was such a massive, dark, beautiful raid, and blowing a giant alien off the ship and spiraling into Saturn's orbit was just a rush that I remember feeling for a day or two. Great stuff. Miss that raid. The ending of The Last of Us. It left me completely shocked and in awe. Not really so much a gamer anymore, but when I was a wee baby I had almost beat all of Super Mario World and my sister saved over it. I will never forgive you, Jessica. Ever. The first time I beat a video game on my own. It was Kingdom Hearts 2 and I felt so accomplished at the age of 11, I think I was 11, back then. It's pretty telling when I start a bunch of video games but only finish a few, I suck. Getting my first, and only, nuke on MW2 multiplayer. I was in 5th grade at the time and I made this whole plan with where to camp / run around at to keep myself as safe as possible, along with using the heartbeat sensor to know when people were coming after me. I essentially sat at the enemy spawn for the entire match of domination, and when I ran out of ammo in my primary gun there was only 30 seconds left in the match, so I ran out into the middle of the map. I started getting shot when I turned a corner and ran straight at the guy and knifed him. I immediately died after, but that one last kill was all I needed as I got the nuke and called it in. In Cotter. Discovering that you were and GT, DAR3 Van, and LT. Was mind-blowing at the time. Really wish for another Cotter, I love both 1 and 2. Edit for spoiler. From FF7, Aerith's death, and close second is Nanaki learning the truth about his father. Killing my companion Cube sad smiley. I loved that little guy and then I had to kill him in a fire. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment, like and subscribe.